I am a big fan of Toni Storm, Anna Jay, Penelope Ford, and Thunder Rosa. Huge fan of all of them. So on paper, I should have loved this match. But this match I genuinely despised. And the reason for that isn't even any of the four people involved. They all did a great job wrestling. The issue is, and I've had the same issue for quite some time, but the fact that anything can happen in a four-way. So why doesn't stuff like this happen in every four-way where there's constant run-ins? The match is basically a fatal 40-way. I mean, it was just absolute chaotic.
That's good.
And then to make matters worse, right, it was a title eliminator match. And you guys know how much I hate those. Why on earth wasn't this just a title match? Why doesn't Toni Storm go, oh, I'm a defending champion and I will defend against all of these ladies? Because the only time an eliminator match makes any sense is if the champion is losing. Even then, I hate it. But at least then you can make an argument as to why it is happening. And you can say, well, you know, at least it advanced the story. This just sucked, Clark. I mean, I'm sure you'll find a way to make this look better. So go ahead.
To be completely honest, I actually kind of agree. It was a little too hectic. I think it could have been a lot better match than it was. But I mean, shout out Bob Backlund. Crossface chicken wing? Come on. We don't get that very often. Monster shout out. Huge throwback. Backlund, former WWE champ. Also one of the most absurd WWE title matches of all time. Diesel and Bob Backlund. Check that out at your own risk if you have not seen that one. But I will say, I still love Toni Storm, but I also agree with you on title eliminators. So I really don't have much to defend this, Ben. I was trying to come up with stuff while you were talking, and I've really thought about it, and this was not it at all. It wasn't what we wanted. It was a good effort. There was a lot of stars involved, and I love Toni Storm, so the result doesn't get me hung up. But yeah, definitely not the most entertaining Fatal 4-Way that I've seen of late.
And there's even more issues we haven't covered because Numero One Superfly says here the four-way had several issues. Firstly, what is Nyla doing? And of course, the constant run-ins, especially with Harley Cameron hitting the safest pull shot to Megan, possibly on par with Nya's chair shot. It's not that quite bad, but it's not
that bad. Yeah,
it would look a little bit like a Harry Potter spell. Spelliamos.
Can I say? I don't actually think the problem is just with the four-way itself. I think it's the problem with AEW's women's main event scene in general. I think they're booking hang on. They're booking the women's they're booking the women's division a lot better in terms of when it comes to Mercedes Moné. When it comes to the main event scene, it seems like they just need some added injection into it. And I mean, Mariah May's just sitting at home. And
I disagree. I think
dude, everybody in the world thought that Mariah May and Toni Storm should have main evented in LA at that pay-per-view. That was one of the best stories AEW's told in the women's division. That was like, how recent do you need it to be? That was like a couple months back.
Yeah, no, true, but you don't. But here's the thing: is that we're kind of in the position now where we kind of need Mariah May back, and there's been rumors whether she's staying or going. We don't have the choice. I mean. Well, she's an Arsenal fan, isn't she?
Yeah, she is an Arsenal fan.
So then it makes sense if she stays for second place, doesn't it?
Right. Anyway, okay. Right. Yeah. In all seriousness, here, the reason they are clearly waiting is because they got 2 weeks, and there's going to be a massive program, probably the biggest program in the history of this women's division, presumably between. Well, we'll get into it next, but the winner of Monet and Hayter, right? So they're just killing time for 2 weeks, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, but there's plenty of time. It's Tony's not even on the Double or Nothing card. Give her a match to do. Give her a rivalry. Is kind of we had this same problem when it was with Mariah May's world title reign. She was on pay-per-views having segments rather than defending her titles. They need to kind of.
I agree on that.
They need to book it a bit more. With some more legitimacy, I think, when it comes to the world title scene, because they're kind of flip-flopping when it comes to that, especially this year.
But we all knew that May and Storm collision course was the move, and that's what we got.
Yeah.
I will say, I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, we also talk about, like, why do they do random 25-minute title matches? We didn't want that either. They
No.
built that rivalry.
Yeah, but just
for what
build.
we
I
asked
see
for.
what you're saying, Archie, but they should have probably have just done. To be honest, do you know what they should have just done? Had somebody win this title eliminator match who wasn't Toni Storm, then do that
exactly,
at the pay-per-view.
exactly.
Then somebody else.
Exactly, but I just feel like
I feel like simple
there's
solution.
Yeah, I know. I don't. I'm not saying Mariah May and Toni Storm should run it back this soon. I feel like Mariah May should be involved in some way, and that would add some injection, and you can kind of lead her. That can lead into a match for All In, because I don't know why she's being left off TV for so long. She needs to be involved
at All In,
in
it's
some way.
Toni versus the winner of the next segment, which we'll get into in just a second. But